Let me submit at the outset that that 3,000 overflow crowd was certainly noisier than you all are tonight. So let's go to church. Let's go back to June 5th, 1963. Create an atmosphere of hope that will enable us to leave this place with a greater capacity to cope. And I want to say tonight, first of all, that I'm grateful to have been invited here by my longest and dearest friend, Reverend Dr. Clyde Adams. When he sent the invitation, I certainly received it without any hint of hesitation. He is known across the length and breadth of our country as a man committed to social transformation, and I'm glad to call him friend. But there comes a time, Fort Wayne, when a people get tired of injustice, oppression, exploitation. There are times when we just simply want to be free. I believe it was that great orator of another generation, Victor Hugo, who said, "There is nothing more powerful in the world than an idea whose time has come." I submit to you tonight that the idea of freedom and human dignity's time has come. The Negro is no longer willing to accept racial segregation because it is sociologically untenable, politically unsound, and morally wrong. The new Negro has matured in thinking and arrived at a point where he and she wants freedom and no longer gradually. He is definitely sick of being segregated because segregation is a new form of slavery simply covered with the niceties of civilization. But we will no longer sell our birthright of freedom for a mess of segregationist pottage. The nonviolent movement has given the Negro a new sense of dignity and self-respect after 300 years. Struggle reveals that the Negro now recognizes the urgency of the moment. He had come to feel that perhaps they were inferior, but he has reevaluated himself. And the Negro today will suffer sacrifice, even die, if it leads them to being free. I realize to some of these moderates, many sincere people who are saying, "Slow up, you're moving too fast." Well, I say we can't afford to slow up. We love America too much. And for those desiring a cooling off period are actually seeking a deep freeze situation when nothing is done. How is it possible to go slow then when you're cranked up to climb the high road to freedom? Going slow is a substitute for getting us to stop. And I submit that the race problem in the United States must be solved, or the United States will be relegated to a second-rate power in the world. Our nation, whether it knows it or not, has a date with destiny. If moderation means pushing on toward the goal of meeting that destiny, then it is good. But if it means slowing up, then moderation is a vice which all men of good will must oppose. Someone has always questioned, Clyde, how is America treating her Negroes? Well, America cannot bring freedom to other people until she treats her own people right. America's image needs to be lifted. I just stopped by on my way to Detroit to tell you we're through with gradualism, tokenism, see how far you've come-ism. We're through with we've done more for your people than anyone else-ism. Gradualism has proved to be merely escapism. We can't wait any longer. No, now is the time. Now is the time to get rid of segregation. Now is the time to make the American dream a reality. We have learned to stand up against the evil system and still not hate in the process. We have discovered that love works miracles. We can say to our opponents, we will match your capacity to inflict suffering by our capacity to endure suffering. And we will wear you down by our capacity to suffer. And one day we will read our freedom and win our freedom and win you in the process. And our victory will be a doubled victory. I'm still convinced that if the Negro succumbs to the temptation to use violence in the struggle for freedom, generations yet unborn will suffer the consequences. No, nonviolence should not be dismissed as a weak method. It is a method that works on the conscience. It enables us to stand before our most bitter opponents and meet their physical force with soul force. In fact, if you go to jail, you transform it, as I did in Birmingham, from a jungle of shame to a haven of human dignity. I'm convinced tonight that black supremacy is as dangerous as white supremacy. All men of goodwill must fight against segregation, discrimination, bigotry, and the madness of militarism. Unfortunately, principles are frequently sacrificed to create the illusion of a well-adjusted society. And so I guess tonight, Clyde, I'm calling for an international association for creative maladjustment. I want us to be as maladjusted as Abraham Lincoln, who said, "This nation cannot exist half slave and half free." Indeed, we must be as maladjusted as the prophet Isaiah, who said, along with Amos, "Let justice run down like water,